Once you've learnt a phrase, there are numerous ways that you can change it and make it your own. This will result in you playing a more organic phrase, which is your original line, as opposed to just playing someone else's. I'm going to teach you how to do that in today's lesson. Hey everybody, Jamie Holroyd here, helping you learn jazz guitar. Welcome to the channel. In this lesson, I'm going to take one lick from the composition Grooving High and teach you how to play it over all four chord types which there are in jazz, and over a major 2-5-1 and over a minor 2-5-1 in various different ways. So you're going to take one lick and we're going to squeeze as much juice from it as we possibly can. Now, if you want to follow along and get the PDF for this lesson, I have a 10-page PDF which is available on my Patreon page, which you can sign up to by clicking the link below. Let's get into it. Just before we begin though, I'd like to tell you about a free beginner jazz guitar guide which you can download. If you're new to jazz and you want a structured start to learning jazz, then please check out the link below to my 62-page beginner jazz guitar guide. So, as I said, there are four main chord types in jazz, so we need to be able to hear this line against all four chord types. So the first chord type, which I'm going to teach you how to play this line over, is a dominant 7. So to play this line over a dominant 7, you need to think if the D minor 7 was acting as a 2 in a 2-5-1 situation, then what chord would be the 5? If D minor was 2, C major was 1, which chord would be the 5? Then G7 would be the 5 chord. So to think of the dominant 7 that goes with a minor 7 line, just think of the 5 that goes with a 2. So what I'm going to do now is play the same line, but on the loop pedal I've got a dominant 7 chord on the loop, so you can hear how the same line sounds over a dominant 7 chord, because that's the important thing with any of these concepts, is that the harmonic function will change against the chord. It will sound and feel a certain way over each chord, and it's not going to feel and sound the same over all the chords that we apply it to. So let's have a listen to how this line sounds over a G dominant 7 chord. The next chord type that we're going to look at is the major 7 chord. So if we're going to use our original minor line over a major 7th chord, then we need to think of the 1 chord if the minor 7 was acting as a 2. So if we think about the harmonized major scale of C, D minor is the 2, G7 that we've just looked at is the 5, so the 1 chord is C major. So let's have a listen to how this line sounds against a C major 7 chord. Now, if you want to do this in other keys, then that is well worth doing with an exercise like this. So for example, if you have a line which is over, say, a G minor 7th chord, then what would be the 1 in G? If the G minor was acting as a chord 2, then the 1 would be an F major chord, right? So let's check out how this line sounds against the 1 major 7. One of the most confusing chord types for improvisers to play over is the minor 7 flat 5. This is because the scale that is typically associated with a minor 7 flat 5 is the Locrian scale, and generally speaking the Locrian scale is quite a difficult scale to make any kind of music with. One way in which you can get around this is to think of a minor 7 which is a minor third above the minor 7 flat 5 in question. So for example, if you have a B minor 7 flat 5, if you think up a flat 3 from that, then that will give you D minor. Now if you play any kind of D minor over a B minor 7 flat 5, you will automatically be playing the same notes as the Locrian scale. So that's great because you can use all your D minor lines and concepts against this challenging Locrian chord. So let's have a listen to how this sounds. We're going to take this minor 7th line and apply it to a B minor 7 flat 5 chord. Another way which you can think about this is if you think about the harmonized major scale of C again, B minor 7 flat 5 is the 7th degree of the scale and D minor is the 2nd degree. So they're interchangeable. So let's hear how this line sounds. Okay, so by now you should be able to play the original minor 7th lick against each of the four main chord types. I really recommend that you do this with different minor 7 phrases that you like, so you get the most mileage from this exercise. On the PDF for my Patreon supporters, I have done this with another lick as well, just so you can see the entire process again. So now we're going to look at how to use this lick over progressions. So the first example, which I've recorded here, is over a static minor 7 chord vamp. So the chord vamp is over a D minor 7 chord, and you can always use the same idea up a tone. So what you're going to hear now is the same idea which I play over the tonic minor 7 chord up a tone over E minor 7. So you're basically thinking E minor over D minor, and I'm sure that you'll agree that this works absolutely fine, even though you might not typically think of E minor over D minor. It works, right? So let's check out the example. Okay, so what we're going to do now is look at a major 2-5-1. We're going to use the same line over all three chords in an interesting way. So we're going to start by playing the minor 7th idea against the minor 7th chord. Then we're going to move it up a semitone. So we're going to be playing D sharp minor or E flat minor over G7. And then finally, we're actually going to be playing E minor against a C major 7 chord. So why does that work? Well, the dominant 7th is one of the most interesting chord types in music. You can really play anything against it as long as you resolve it when it goes to a 1 major or 1 minor. So this E flat minor thing is really not going to have much notes in common with the original chord, but because of the motion of the line and the destination of the line, it should hopefully sound okay. Now, E minor against C major, I know that's not originally what I said. I said you could use D minor against C major, but E minor also works well. It's a secondary relative minor, and the reason why I've done that is because I'm going to have this semitone motion going on in this line. So let's check out how this sounds. Okay, so we're now going to reverse the process. We've just taken one idea and moved it up a semitone each time to resolve to a major chord. So we're going to now descend by a semitone each time and resolve to a minor 7 chord. So once again, we're starting with that original minor 7th idea, moving it down. So this time over G7, we're going to be playing D flat minor, and finally we're going to be playing C minor over a C minor 7th chord. So let's see how this one sounds. In this example, I'm going to teach you how to use a minor 7th line as a backdoor 2-5-1 phrase. So to do that, take any minor 7th line which you know and move it up a minor third over the 5 chords. So for example, if you've got a line which is over a minor 7th chord in a 2-5-1 in C, D minor, G, C, take the D minor line, play it up a minor third, so play it in F minor against the G7 chord, and then resolve it in bar 1. So just for sake of practice, I've actually taken the same line here and I played D minor 7 over D minor chord, F minor 7 over the G7 chord, and I've actually resolved to E minor 7 over the C major 7 chord, just so I'm using the same line. Of course, you don't have to do this. In fact, I would probably recommend that you have some different ways to resolve to the 1 chord besides just using the same line, but this will hopefully prove the principle. So this is how to get a backdoor 2-5 over a regular 2-5 chord. You can either do this if the chords just say D minor, G, C, it'll work just great, or if you've already got a programmed 2-5, backdoor 2-5, like in Yardbird Suite or Stella by Starlight or Misty, this will work just great as well. So that would mean that the chords would then be D minor 7, F minor 7, B flat, and C major 7. So that, if you've got the chords which are like that, then this line is going to fit those chords like a glove. So let's hear how this line sounds, shall we? I hope you enjoyed these licks and found them useful. If you did and you'd like more content like this, don't forget to subscribe, leave me a comment, and please give the video a like if you found this video useful.